Hello everyone, welcome back to Motivation with me. I'm Natasha, and today we'll be doing a reflective story. So now before I start, as usual, I tell about what we have done in our past video. So now yesterday we spoke about motivation and work. So how you as leaders or bosses of a company, or even if it's your own business, how you should keep on motivating and empowering your fellow employees. And also how you as employees must motivate yourselves to provide a healthy working environment and also to bring the company up. It will not be beneficial for the company, but also to yourself. So, let us begin with our story. So, for today's reflective story, I'm going to be telling you another story about a young boy. Now, this boy was very young and he loved football. It was his life, it was his dream, it was his everything to him. Now his father was in the US Army, and during that time his father had to go to a war to fight for his country. So he had to fly to Afghanistan. His son was left alone with his mother. Now this boy's name is Clark. Clark had his father who connected through football. His father and he would play football. I'm not talking about the American football where you throw the ball. It's not that. It's the soccer ball. I would say soccer. That would be easy, wouldn't it? Soccer or football in instance. Kind of the same thing but different names depending on the country you are from. So now this boy, Clark, when his father went to the truck that was taking the soldiers to the camp, his father gave him a present, and that was a brand new soccer ball, football. Clark was overjoyed in his heart, but he was also torn apart. He was thinking, okay, when can I see you again, father? Will you come back home? Will you be able to come back and play with me? Will you watch me play football if I go for a tournament? So he was troubled with those questions. But before he could ask his dad anything, his father told him this one thing. Wait for me. Wait for me. Now, what do you think that is? When someone you love, let's say your father or your brother or your elder sister or even your loved one or your partner says, wait for me. What does that mean? What does that symbolize? It symbolizes encouragement. It symbolizes wait till I come home to you. Wait till I come back to you. It's a type of encouragement which we can use. Like we would always think, let us improve ourselves, let us make ourselves better, so that when the person we love comes back, while we were waiting for them, they would be even prouder, even happier, even more amazed to see how much we've grown. For Clark, those words, those simple words meant the world to him. They overjoyed his heart. It made him believe that his father would come home safely. It made him wait anxiously, made him have expectations. Of course, you can say having expectations is a bad thing. Sometimes some things don't go as promised. But from experience, I tell you, never lower your expectations when it comes to family. A family, your family will definitely keep their promises. No matter what the cost is, no matter how difficult their time is. So, for Clark, it was the word to him, those words. He hugged his father so tightly. His mother was drenching in tears. And she also gave a final goodbye kiss and hug to her husband. say it's a business field or a science field. Yes, you know your work, you know your theories, you know your practicals. But there are a few things you might not know. After all, we only learn if we learn from each other, don't we? Nothing is gained without experience, people say. True, nothing is gained without experience, but also you have to learn from others. That shows how humble you are. When you learn from others, that shows how open you are to understand other ways of approaching a problem or handling a situation you don't know. You always have to remember to be humble. Now, for Clark, he found school life very difficult. I mean, after all, he was an only child in his family, and his dad was in the war, a soldier. Now, he was rather skinny, not very strong, not full of muscle or anything. He was very skinny. And most of his classmates would bully him. They were wondering whether it was even true that he was the son of a soldier, because their mindset thought that if you're the son of a soldier, you would be hefty, you would be strong. But Clark was the opposite of that. He was not hefty, he was not strong, he was just bony. He was the opposite of those things. And because he was different from what other people thought his status was, he was treated differently. He was mocked a lot, he was bullied a lot, but yet he bore through it all. He was very patient, very humble. He didn't ever go to fight with his enemies. Never ever be part of the violence. Like I even said in my first video, do not ever expose yourself or do not put violence in your life. Violence does not solve anything at all. It just makes things worse. It makes even you a worse person than what you are. It makes you a worse person than what others are. Than your enemies and your rivals. It's just, you're just making it more than worse actually. So always remember just to let things go. Thankfully, Clark was very patient. And there was always one thing that kept him patient. The words of his father. The words of his father always encouraged him to be very patient, very humble. Clark loved his dad even though he knew that he was a soldier. Of course you know that they can be strict. Yes, of course. But to Clark, his father was his role model because his father was full of kindness. His father was full of humbleness. His father was in the war, but he did not go to be part of it. He just wanted to end it. He just wanted there to be peace. He didn't want to start any war. Because of how his father had raised him, Clark was like that. Clark displayed that behavior in his school. He did not expose himself to violence, neither did he display violence. So, one day his mother saw how he was being bullied, and she recognized how her son never told her anything. So she wanted to give him a little boost. She allowed him to go to a private court area where they were training young footballers. When Clark saw what his mother had done, his eyes were bursting out with tears as he hugged his mother so tightly. Words could not express his gratitude for her for what she did, because she as a mother knew football was his life, and it was the only thing, the only connection, the only bond he had with his father. His mother didn't want to break that, so she wanted to give Clark a new objective in life, something to look forward to. Clark joined it, and of course was very rusty. Of course he didn't know anything about football. He was learning. He was a newcomer. Just like you're new at doing not only a sport, but even making something. Or even if you write an essay. You're still new when you're young. You do not know how to write up unless you're guided. So that's why he went to this training grounds. It was like a school, but only for sports. So the specific sport was football, or in this case, soccer. was because he wanted to express his anger out. So they tend to do that to the weakest people. Well, weak looking in this case. Now Clark wasn't weak, he was weak looking. He looked weak. But when Clark saw this act happening, this scene happening in the hallway, he didn't go to intervene. But when the bully came to approach him, Clark didn't say anything. He just smiled. A simple, humble, down-to-earth smile was across his face. And when Clark's bully saw that, he was shocked. Why was he smiling at me? Was he mocking me? Was he making fun of me? Is he going to tell on me? Is he going to rat me out to the others? Is he going to tell them that I'm weak? So those questions were going on in the bully's mind. But Clark not only did smile, but handed out his hand so that the bully would give a handshake. It was an extension, a beginning of friendship. Clark saw that the bully was a weak person in his behavior. That's why the bully always wanted to pick on Clark. So Clark wanted to call it even. That's why he asked for the handshake. The bully did not hesitate. He gave his handshake back and was also smiling. At that moment, the bully felt very at ease, very calm. So from that we can understand how a simple act of kindness can motivate you to be a better person. Now, how did Clark perform this kindness? Because he was forever motivated. He was forever encouraged. Not only by his father, but his mother. His mother encouraged his dream. Go and be the footballer you wish to be. Go and be the footballer you want your dad to see. So he was living out his dream because of his mother's encouragement. Because his mother kept motivating him to be who he was, to be who he really was, the humble boy. And when the bully saw that, he was inspired. And then after, Clark wasn't bullied at all. He felt at that time at home, part of the school, part of family, a second family. We always say school is our second home, right? So he felt a part of a second family. He was happy with his friends, and during their interval time, they always had time to play football or soccer. Of course, they didn't know how it worked, so that's why Clark was there to help them. And Clark felt so happy. Now, his team, which he was training for, selected to go for a tournament. Clark was very anxious. He didn't know what to expect. He was going to play against another team for the very first time. How was he going to face it? The night before the match, he received a call from his dad. Well, and the father was saying that he would be delayed to come home. Clark was disappointed. He really missed his father. When everything was going uphill for him, it suddenly went down with that one call that his father was delayed. Clark wasn't happy at that, but his mother was there, forever motivating him to remember his father's words. When Clark realized the words of his father, that gave him the strength to face the next day. So it was the beginning of the match, and of course it was difficult. There were a few penalties, number of losses, but at the end, Clark's team did win, and they were promoted to go and play for the semi-final. Now it was that time that Clark and his teammates knew that they were going against a much more tougher opponent, so they needed to practice more than what they were practicing before. They had to spend long hours in the field practicing their breathing, practicing their legs, running, practicing the way their body moves, practicing how to do the sprinting. It was very complex. There was a number of exercises they had to complete. After all, they were going against a strong team. was hesitant at first. He didn't feel like going. After all, there was nothing to expect, right? No one was going to cheer for him. Well, yes, his mother would be there, but he wanted his father. Now, that is when his mother again motivated him with the simple words his father said. Wait for me. Those words were like magic to Clark. They were magic. Just hearing those simple words, that simple sentence, just lit a fire in him to keep moving forward. Yes, he was hesitant. Yes, he was heartbroken. It was difficult. But his mother always told him, perseverance is better than not ever accomplishing anything. If you give up now, what are you going to gain in the future? What are you going to think about in the future? How are you going to go look back in time and think, oh, this happened to me. How did I ever overcome it? Will you have such an instance to think about? So those words struck Clark. He didn't want to have any regrets. Even though his father was MIA, he didn't want to have any regret at all. So he did what his mother wished for. For the sake of the love of his father and the simple words. So you see how motivation takes you a long way. The path is hard. The path is very rocky. It's full of thorns, it's full of mountains, it's full of hills. You have to climb and walk a great length. But at the end of the journey, there's always a beautiful garden. You have to always keep that in mind. So Clark's music garden was a football field. Coco's here were played by semi-finals, and of course they won, and were allowed, were made sure to go and play for the final. That was when Clark's team would be for the first time winning a championship. Clark had a lot of excitement. He didn't want to let his team down. He didn't want to let his coach down. He didn't want to let his mother down. Especially he didn't want to let his father down. During the final match, the final tournament, Clark was having a bit of a difficulty. His mentality was a bit put down. He was struggling a bit before the match. He first asked the coach to let him sit out for the first half hour. Coach did. He loved it. Clark did not even stare at the game during that first half hour. His head was down to his hands covered, looking at the grass. He was thinking about his father. He was thinking about his father's words. And suddenly, out of the crowd, someone shouted, "Clark." Someone shouted his name. Clark looked up and wondered who was it. The voice was very familiar, but who could it be? When Clark lifted his head and turned around, Clark saw his father. He was alive, he was well, he was walking, he was not missing at all. Clark ran to him. Clark was overjoyed. And his mother was also there. Both of them were filled with the utter happiness, the utter joy, the utter amusement, the utter amazement. And were thanking God for giving them their miracle back, giving the love of their life back. Clark's father knelt down and asked back why he wasn't playing for the first half. Clark admitted defeat and told his father why. He was very upset that his father would never get to see him to play. His father said, "Don't you remember what I told you?" Clark said, "I do, father." "Well, I kept my promise," the father said. "Now I get to see you play. You're my son after all." watch him play a game. Clark's wish came true. He could just appear right on time. Yes, it took a long time, but it was so long. Clark got his wish. He got 2 wishes. He got his father back home, and he was able to play a tournament just to show his dad how much he had grown. Clark entered in the second half of the game. He showed his father his strength, his ability, how much he had grown, how much he had changed through his plays in football, and all because he was motivated by his father's words. His father's words motivated him day after day, minute after minute, second after second. He displayed how the courage his father had and how the love his mother felt for him motivated him to keep playing, just so he could always get encouraged again by his father. And he got more than that. He got his father back home. In the end, Clark and his team won the finals. It was a joyous and victorious moment for the team, but it was an even joyous moment for Clark. He was the happiest boy in the world. He finally got his father back, and he ran to him without even bothering about the trophy, and just hugged him so tightly and just whispered 2 words into his father's ear. Thank you. Those were the 2 words he whispered. So now you can see how motivation goes a long way, even during troubled times. I know we all have bumps in the road. I know life is difficult. It's not the way we expect it to be. But like I always say, in the end of your path is always promising. It's the best part of life, the end of your life, the end of your journey. The end of your journey does not mean you dying. The end of your journey means your accomplishments. It can be from accomplishing school, accomplishing a school event, accomplishing a sport or an activity, or your degrees, or your final year at university. That's what your end of the journey means. But when you end that journey, you start a new journey. And of course, that'll be 10 times harder than your previous journey. You're to be more stronger, more confident, and keep encouraging yourself. You're always remember your family is there, no matter what. They're always going to be behind your back, encouraging you, motivating you to be the best you can be. Yes, at times there'll be times where things get a little rough, but they will never let down your faith. They want you to always achieve your dream because that's what makes you happy. It's all what their wants to see their child happy. And why they do that is because when you're a parent, when you have parents, a parent basically means having unlimited faith in your child, an unlimited amount of faith. It's just as this mother and father did for their son, and as the son in turn did for his parents. So that's the end of our story. I hope you all enjoy, and don't forget to like and subscribe my videos. So tomorrow we'll be doing another motivational lecture. It will be on motivation